Thanks.
Okay, thanks. It's my pleasure to invite Karen Haugen, who I've been associated with for many, many years. She's probably doesn't want to know how long. But I knew Karen from way back in the maybe early 80s. Got to meet her and her family. Then as we went along, she would start working for Hawaii First Nation. Karen is from the Hawaii First Nation, as a matter of fact. She's married with 2 kids, married to Dylan. Oh, sorry, Kale, and has 2 kids, Dylan and Samantha. She's worked for our nation for 8 years, off and on, or so. And then she's started working for Parks Canada in various capacities. Lately, I'll just read it out for what she's done there. She was a finance clerk, Aboriginal liaison, First Nations program manager, acting park superintendent in both the Gulf Islands and Pacific Rim National Reserve, visitor experience manager, and now she's the superintendent of the park. Just over a couple months ago or so, she just got appointed. Interesting fact that she's one of only 3 Aboriginal superintendents across Canada, and the only female superintendent, Aboriginal superintendent. So for me, that's a proud fact that I like to show because she's part of our nation. Karen, I've asked her, Karen, I know Karen can talk for a couple hours on Parks Canada, but I asked her to focus mainly on the Aboriginal component of Parks Canada, because Karen will probably tell you that they're trying to get more involved with the Aboriginal communities that surround or as a lot of people say, that the Parks Canada is probably within the traditional territories of many First Nations along the coast here. So with that, I'd like to introduce Karen Haugen.
Probably also the shortest. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for allowing me to speak to you today. Like Jeff was saying, my name is Karen Haugen. I am born and raised in Port Alberni. Lived here all my life, 42 years. Both my children are from here. My son played for the Bulldogs. My daughter played figure skating and hockey and softball. So I've known this area all my life, along with Banfield. So I'm not only the first Nuu-chah-nulth superintendent in Pacific Rim National Park Reserve, I'm also one of the first locals to be able to run our park. So Parks Canada is the oldest organization for managing parks in the world. We're over 100 ye's old, and Canada's going to be 150 next year, so we've been around a long time. Parks Canada looks after protecting and preserving all of our natural and cultural features of Canada. We do that all across Canada. We have 46 national parks, national park reserves, 168 national historical sites, 4 national marine conservation areas, 10 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, and 9 historic canals. So you can imagine how much people are looking after and protecting and preserving our national historical sites. Pacific Rim National Park Reserve is one of the oldest coastal national parks along BC. We have 3 amazing units. We have the Long Beach unit, which is in between Ukiah and Tofino. We have the Broken Group Islands, which the kayaker was probably spending 5 days in. So a wonderful array of different islands. And we have the internationally known West Coast Trail, which brings in a lot of our international visitors across the world. Many people love that trail. They've also is the most with our backcountry visitor safety issues in Canada as well. Today we had 46 visitor safety incidences where we're taking people off the trail by helicopter or by boat. We do that along with our cohorts at the Coast Guard and D&D. So it is one of the most challenging, but it is one that everybody wants to put on their bucket list. It's an amazing trail. For Pacific Rim, National Park Reserve. It was established in the 1930s, was proposed in the 1930s, it was established in the 1970s, so we're about 46 years old now, coming to our 50th anniversary. We work with 9 of the local First Nations. So we work with Ukludadat, Tloquit, Tuquat, Huchaklassit, Hupachesit, Sishat, Huayet, Dididot, and Pachidat. And we work with them quite successfully. That is one of the things a lot of our visitors really look forward to seeing is the Aboriginal history that this whole area represents. And it is quite extensive if you ever get out there. Pacific Rim has about 468 archaeological sites. A good majority of them are First Nation history. We also, along the Long Beach unit, have what we call the hippie history, because it is quite extensive there as well. We also have the European history along in the Broken Group. So it makes Pacific Rim such a unique place that you can visit. The West Coast Trail was established, though, in 1973, so it was established 3 years after the Long Beach and Broken Group. Why is it a park reserve? It's a park reserve because we have outstanding claims with our First Nation partners, and that's why we really build that partnership with them. We also build a strong partnership with both Ukiulet District, Tofino District, and we have a Port Alberni Chamber. Recently, we've been working with them on the Broken Group Islands. Pacific Rim National Park Reserve is the 3rd busiest national park in Canada, next to Banff and Jasper. And if you know Banff and Jasper, they're quite huge. Well, we're the 3rd busiest. And that really shows that I'm sure you see the traffic going through Port Alberni on a constant basis. And if you're in Sprout Lake, you probably can't get out or get in for a very long time. We are that busy. From May to October is about 67 to 70% of our visitation, just in those small months. We are slowly increasing on the off season, but we are the busiest May to October. The West Coast Trail and the Broken Group as well is areas within the park that are getting quite significant visitation throughout the year, so they are increasing. We get about 67% of our visitors are Canadian, about 35 to 45 are international, and we have a small, about 8 to 10% are American. So you can see who's coming and going to our national park. We have about 220 square kilometer of marine environment, 290 square kilometer of terrestrial, and it's about 125 kilometers of the Vancouver Island coastline. So that is a lot of area to manage, a lot of area to oversee, and a lot of visitors to welcome, and that's where our partners come into play. So with the park and with Parks Canada, we have about 3 what we call Guardian Beachkeeper programs. So on the West Coast Trail, we have Guardian programs with the Huayet, with the DT-Dot, and with the Pachi-Dot. There's about 15 to 18 First Nation Guardians that welcome. They do visitor safety, they check on the wildlife, they work with Parks Canada staff on that 75-kilometer trail. And we have the Beachkeeper program with the Sishat, and they welcome and they look after the Broken Group Islands along with our staff. And then within the Long Beach unit, we have a Tribal Park Guardian program with the Tloquit, and they look after a section of the Long Beach unit. So we do a quite extensive amount of work with our First Nation Guardians and our First Nation partners. We also do a lot of work with the Ukiulet and Tofino District in welcoming. So we work together on welcoming people to the whole Pacific region there. And we work with them in the tourist information sessions. So we have one with Cox Bay. We also have one at the Pacific Rim Visitor Center. So you can imagine the amount. And from May to October, the park has about 90 to 100 employees. And we have about 25 to 40 partners. So whether they're guardians, ambassadors, or beach keepers, we all work together to welcome everybody to our area. So you can imagine what my job is like. I'm all over the place. If I'm not walking around the park, talking to visitors, I'm managing, working with my staff to manage about $25 million worth of capital infrastructure that's currently being undertaken in the park right now. Whether it's fixing the highway, the section of the highway in between Ukiulet and Tofino, looking after our washroom facilities. Our Greenpoint campground just got electricity last year, so that is kept us quite busy because we were getting more and more campers there. We also have Radar Hill and Grace Bay roads were just redone, and Radar Hill is one of the areas that we have with the Cap Young Memorial to commemorate the Korean War. We have a really nice establishment up there. If you ever go there, please check Radar Hill. It's probably got the best view ever. We just fixed it. It's amazing. Grace Bay, Kennedy Lake. So we're really on the roll of getting about infrastructure that's about 30 to 40 years old back in line and up to date and functioning, and we do that a lot with a lot of our partners. So we have local contractors on the island working, we have our First Nation partners working, we have Ukiulet Tofino, and it's been an interesting time, and Pacific Rim is going under a lot of that. So between the visitation of anywhere from 800 to 900,000 visitors going through Long Beach to about 8,000 on the West Coast Trail and about 10,000 in the Broken Group. We are a very busy park, but everybody really loves to visit, and Port Alberni is that gateway. So thank you for allowing me to come and speak about our beautiful park, and I hope to see you there next year. Canada's 150. The park is open free, so I hope people will come and visit the park and check out the amazing beaches we have and the trails we have. But if you're going to go on the West Coast Trail, please be careful. We do have a third entrance now for people who just want to test it off their bucket list. You can access it through the Nitnat Village. We have a partnership with the Nation, so you can touch the West Coast Trail and say you actually did it, and nobody will deny it because you can hike 25 of it. So park, kayak through, take the Francis Barkley, and visit the Broken Group. There's lots of things you can do. Yes?
What is the actual borders of what the Pacific Rim Reserve is? Where does it go from it to?
Oh gosh. We have the Long Beach unit. It's almost in between Ukiulet and Tofino. And then all of the Broken Group islands are considered the Broken Group unit. And then the West Coast Trail is from Banfield to Port Renfrew. So it's all along that coast there. So we have quite an array of different areas for the Pacific Rim National Park Reserve. Any other questions?
I have a comment, Karen. Les and I and our son Kevin that we were talking about the other day, we were on the West Coast Trail a few years back, and we going through Dibidat, Hachidat, and we ran into the Guardians who were out there, the young people who were out there. It was an amazing experience, and there were some really pleasant surprises there that the local people actually provided by the way of food.
Yes, our Guardians are known for giving you barbecued salmon on the beach and then providing an amazing visitor experience. We get tons of comments about them, and they also do singing at the campsites. They are a wonder there, and they are a surprise to many visitors. The Germans and the international love
When
it.
we were on that trail, most of the people were not from North America, so they were being wonderful ambassadors.
They are true ambassadors to Canada, and they welcome like an array of visitors, as well as they provide a lot of safety. We've had some of the Guardians would take people's backpacks and hike it for them for 5 to 10 kilometers just to give some people breaks, and that's the most memorable for some. So yeah, they are a pleasant surprise to many.
Just with regard to Radar Hill, when it first sort of got opened as part of the park, and it was a viewing place, it had an unobstructed, panorama right around the area. But over quite some period of time now, the forest around seems to have grown, and it sort of impeded, that free view of any of the trees, or is it against the rules altogether to cut down any trees?
I think you should go visit it.
Well,
And you're going to be amazed.
You're on.
It's a beautiful site now.
Yeah.
The road is fixed right up to the top, so you can drive right to the top again.
Right. Good.
And you'll see your amazing view.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you tell me where that is? Radar Hill?
Radar Hill, it's within the park, but it's closer to Tofino. So you'll see Long Beach Golf Course, you just pass it, it's right there. Yeah, you'll love it. We just reopened it after many months of closure to fix the viewing point and to fix the road, and yeah. Next week, we will be hosting the Korean delegation to come and visit.
Ooh, Comer's Beach, my favorite beach in the world. What's going on there still?
Comer's is still closed.
Yeah.
It is one of the sections of the park right now that is still closed, but we're hoping to reopen it shortly. But yeah, it is one of
Are
the.
you doing the boardwalk at the bottom or
We're
something?
going to be doing a lot of work. So hopefully next year, we'll have it fully functional. But yeah, I really recommend if you haven't, come out and visit, and you'll be amazed to see some of the new infrastructure and what's happening in Pacific Rim.
Great.